The story kicks off by introducing us to a guy named Danny, who has this metal thing locked around his neck. When that metal thing comes off, Danny becomes this fierce fighter who won't quit until he's beaten his opponents to a pulp. It's not just about fighting, though. Danny's also really good at defending himself. He once managed to dodge a bullet that someone shot at him from up close. After he deals with the person who fired the shot, this old guy named Bart, who's dressed in a white coat, steps into the room. He's not a nice guy. Bart's one of those loan sharks who aren't afraid to use violence when they're collecting money from folks, and Danny seems to be his go-to muscle. When Bart finishes his business, he snaps that metal collar back onto Danny's neck, and just like that, Danny turns into a quiet and harmless person. He doesn't know much about how to behave in society. Bart treats Danny like he's a stray dog, even locking him up in a cage under his office. Bart had a habit of taking Danny with him whenever he needed to collect money from people who owed him. Sometimes, when those folks refused to pay up, Bart would remove that metal thing from around Danny's neck, and Danny would go on the attack like a wild dog. He wouldn't stop until the guys were beaten, and he'd do whatever Bart told him to. One day, Bart had to collect a debt from a wealthy guy named Raffles. This guy already knew about Bart's trick to unleash his savage dog Danny to attack everyone. So, when they couldn't agree on things, Raffles immediately ordered his men to attack Bart to prevent him from taking off that metal collar from around Danny's neck. Danny stayed calm while the metal collar was still on, even though Bart was getting a beating. Bart managed to hold his ground against Raffles' men, and finally, he took off that metal collar from Danny's neck. As soon as the metal necklace came off, Danny went crazy and attacked Raffles and his men. Danny's brutal fight with Raffles and his crew caught the attention of a mysterious guy named Wyeth, who happened to be at Raffles' place at the time. Wyeth was pretty impressed with the way Danny fought. Now, since Raffles refused to pay what he owed Bart, Bart decided to take all the valuable stuff, like jewelry, from Raffles' place and then took off. After that, Bart and Danny went to another spot to collect more debts. But this time, Bart wanted to give talking a shot first. He had Danny wait in a big warehouse. Bart, holding a lamp, told Danny to follow him right away if the light came on. One of Bart's pals hung up the lamp, and Bart told Danny to keep an eye on it, just in case. When Bart and his crew left, Danny started to explore and got interested in an old piano sitting in the antique warehouse. Before long, an old guy named Sam came in to play the piano. Even though Sam couldn't see, he somehow figured out where Danny was and greeted him warmly. Danny tried to ignore Sam, but he couldn't resist the temptation to play the piano keys. So he finally gave in and approached Sam when the old man offered to teach him how to play. But Danny lost track of time, and by the time he noticed the lamp was on, Bart and his guys were already in rough shape. Bart was mad that Danny was late and insulted him. When they got back to Bart's office, Danny got tossed into his iron cage. Shortly after that, Wyeth showed up at Bart's place to invite Danny to an underground fight. Wyeth told Bart that there was a chance for Danny to make a lot of money because many people would bet on him to win. Bart found Wyeth's offer interesting, so he invited Danny to participate in this underground fight that Wyeth was sponsoring. In this fight, Danny would be up against champions who had never been defeated in 15 matches. After Bart took off the metal collar from Danny's neck, he showed that he could defeat the other fighter really quickly. Wyeth asked Bart how he trained someone to be so obedient. Bart explained that it had to start early. Wyeth seemed to get it and gave Bart the money they won from the bet. On their way back home, their car got hit by a big truck. Then a bunch of guys sent by Raffles appeared and started shooting at the car. The attack killed Bart's friends and made Bart pass out, but Danny somehow survived. Meanwhile, Sam went back to the antique warehouse to play the piano like he usually did. The blind man sensed that Danny was there, badly hurt, and he collapsed. Danny had a bad dream about getting shot while peeking out of a closet. When he woke up, he was in a strange room with different clothes on. He heard footsteps coming closer and quickly hid under the bed. It turned out that the person who came was Sam, bringing food for him. After finishing his meal, Danny stepped out of the room and listened to Sam playing the piano. However, when he met Victoria, Sam's adopted daughter who had just returned home, Danny hurried into the room. Sam and Victoria were getting ready to have dinner and invited Danny to join them. Danny entered the dining room and eagerly devoured the food. Victoria noticed this and kindly showed Danny how to eat properly. She encouraged him to follow her example. Danny watched Sam and Victoria closely and then shared his name with them. Living with Sam and Victoria, Danny started to open up to them and embarked on a new life with a caring family. Sam and Victoria taught him various things like eating, reading, speaking, cooking, shopping, and even playing the piano. They also took Danny out to public places, where he learned how to socialize with other people, enjoyed ice cream at a cafe, and took photos together. Danny's appearance changed significantly as he adopted new clothes, hairstyles, and a clean and healthy lifestyle, resembling a normal human being. Each day brought happiness for Danny because Sam and Victoria treated him like a beloved member of their family. One night, Victoria entered Danny's room and tried to remove the metal collar around his neck. Danny instinctively dodged and slapped her hand, remembering his past when he turned violent when the collar was taken off. However, Victoria reassured Danny that the collar needed to be removed because he was a free human being, not a pet. She carefully took off the metal necklace, and Danny finally realized that he could still be his harmless self without it. As Danny spent more time with Victoria, he found himself drawn to music, and he started to develop a curiosity about his mother after Victoria showed him what it meant to have a real family. One day, Danny bumped into one of Bart's guys, who invited him to come back. Danny agreed to the invitation, and Bart was pretty happy that Danny had returned. However, Danny had something else on his mind, so he asked Bart about his mother. Bart admitted that he didn't know anything about Danny's mother. Then, Bart invited Danny to go to Wyatt's place for an underground fight. When Bart told Danny to step into the arena, Danny refused. Bart got mad and pushed him into the fight. Danny tried to fight but didn't want to hurt his opponent because he had changed. The match wasn't very exciting, so Wyatt sent in 3 other fighters to gang up on Danny. Bart was annoyed and told Danny to fight or he'd die. Danny finally fought back and managed to defeat all the fighters. However, he couldn't bring himself to kill them, so Bart took drastic action by shooting the fighters. After that, Bart beat up Danny badly and tossed him into his iron cage. Meanwhile, Sam comforted a very worried Victoria, as Danny had disappeared. Later that night, Danny managed to sneak out of the cage and went searching through Bart's desk for any clues about his mother. He stumbled upon an old photo of a woman playing the piano, and he thought that this woman might be his mother. Danny decided to confront Bart about it, and Bart claimed that the woman in the photo was indeed his mother. Bart spun a heartwarming tale to make Danny feel emotional and prevent him from leaving again. Danny appeared deeply affected by Bart's story. The next day, as Danny and Bart were getting ready to go collect debts, Danny made a daring escape by grabbing the steering wheel, causing their car to crash and overturn. Miraculously, Danny survived the crash and made his way back to Sam and Victoria. He shared the story of his discovery about his mother with them. Sam asked Victoria to describe the place in the photo, and after hearing her description, Sam realized he knew the location. Sam took Danny to a music academy, where Danny learned that his mother had been a pianist who had studied there, but had to leave because of financial difficulties. Though Danny didn't have a lot of information about his mother, he felt a sense of relief knowing that she had been a pianist, which explained his own interest in playing the piano. While Danny was in his room, Victoria approached him and revealed that she knew the song his mother had played in the photo, thanks to the piano score visible in the picture. She invited Danny to play that very song. As Victoria played the same song that her mother had played in the photo, it brought back memories for Danny from his childhood. Back then, his mother was a student at the music academy, but they were struggling financially. Whenever his mother played that song, Danny used to sit under the piano and listen. One day, there was a knock on the door, and his mother urgently told him to hide in the closet. Danny peeked out from the cupboard and saw a man at the door harassing his mother. His brave mother didn't stay silent and tried to stand up to the man. However, the man ended up shooting Danny's mother right in front of him. Witnessing his mother's tragic death, Danny couldn't contain himself and attacked the man. But he was just a young child and not strong enough to fight back. Eventually, the man managed to grab Danny and took him away from there. Meanwhile, Bart resorted to holding a supermarket cashier at gunpoint to find out where Danny was. He finally got the information he needed. Once Danny regained his memory, he and Victoria realized that Bart would likely come to their house sooner or later, so they quickly packed their things and left. Bart and a big group of tough guys showed up at Sam's apartment building to capture Danny. Seeing them coming, Danny quickly hid Sam and Victoria in a closet and then rushed outside to confront the thugs. Even though he was all alone, Danny was ready to take on all these tough guys, but Bart had a backup plan in case the thugs couldn't get rid of Danny. He called in a guy known as the Stranger, who was a skilled fighter with abilities almost as good as Danny's. As Danny tried to lead the thugs away from Sam's apartment building, he found himself in a tight spot when he encountered the Stranger. It was inevitable that a fierce battle would ensue, and they even fought fiercely in cramped bathroom stalls. Meanwhile, Bart had parked his car in a quiet spot. Eventually, Danny's fight with the Stranger came to an end when Danny accidentally caused the Stranger's demise by kicking him from a height, and he landed right on top of Bart's car. With his top fighter dead, Bart ordered his men to chase and shoot at Danny as he ran through the building. They'd finally cornered Danny in Sam's apartment. Bart aimed his gun at Danny and threatened to shoot, but then, to everyone's surprise, he dropped the gun and instead took out Danny's metal collar. Bart told Danny to come home with him. Danny seemed to consider it and took a step toward Bart, allowing him to put the metal collar back on. However, at the last moment, Danny halted and managed to incapacitate all of Bart's men. Danny was filled with rage when he discovered that Bart was the one who had killed his mother. He unleashed his anger and fought Bart until Bart was defeated. Just as Danny was about to finish Bart off, Sam and Victoria emerged from where they had been hiding. They tried to stop Danny from killing Bart. However, Bart, in a surprising twist, ordered Danny to go ahead and kill him. He cruelly told Danny that he would always be a wild animal and would never have a real family. This made Sam react swiftly. He dropped a flower pot on Bart's head, rendering him unconscious. Sam, Danny, and Victoria embraced one another to soothe Danny's anger. Later, Bart and all his men were sent to prison for a very long time. The movie concluded with a scene of Danny sitting alongside Sam at a piano recital, where Victoria was preparing to perform. Danny realized that Victoria was about to play the same song his mother had played years ago. Tears of joy welled up in his eyes as he finally felt like he had a real family. So the moral of the story is don't trust loan sharks with a flair for theatrics. They might make you wear a metal collar and then challenge you to bathroom stall duels.